What it do, Noah's crew? And no esteem stand up. I'm joking, guys, but yeah, I gotta catch up with some football news. And the video is this is not the same Lamine Yamal. Okay, video by Docs Football. Come on, let's see what the video is about.
Meant to be a superstar. He's the chosen one, a complete game changer despite being so young.
How do you protect him when he's so good? He's good enough to play for any team in world football. That's how I think he's a superstar.
Watching him go from a skinny teenager with a perm to the main man for Spain has been incredible.
I mean, it's like, that is ridiculous.
And he's scoring on.
It's some real shit. I think everybody, even if you don't watch football, you know Lamine Yamal. He's crazy, bro. He's the same age as me, I think. Or maybe a year old or something like that. And he's going so crazy, man.
Unbelievable goals, making assists out of nowhere. I mean, the kids, I mean, he's already the superstar. He's not the next superstar, he already is. He's extraordinary.
Frightening.
Love watching him play.
Brilliant.
We are officially in the Yamal era, a time where a teenager is breaking records and doing things we didn't think were possible.
We are in teenagers era. Bro, he's owning football right now. I might be wrong, though. I don't watch football. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong.
At this age. With the 2026 World Cup coming up in North America, the conversation has changed. We're not talking about a guy with potential anymore.
Has anyone done what this guy's done at 17 years old? There may have been bigger players. There may be players that you go, you know what, he was a better player. His potential is much higher. He's got a higher ceiling. He's a superstar, going to be a superstar. He's the one we're going to... Like Messi. But Messi weren't doing this. Messi wasn't doing what this kid's been doing at 17 and 16 years old. He was playing, he broken all the records in terms of like youngest to play in La Liga, youngest to score, youngest to assist, youngest to play for Barca. Like, it's just crazy what he's done. He's broken all those records. He's the youngest. Lamine Yamal, aka the youngest superstar.
We're talking about a player and what he can achieve right now. Can a guy who's still a teenager join the list of legends like Pele, Maradona, and Messi? If Yamal wins the World Cup,
if Lamine Yamal stays on his grind, if he keeps on working, he definitely has the potential for sure. But I've seen him partying a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like there was some moments where he got some time off, he got money, he got fame, he got everything. So, you know, he wants to party. And if he's gonna do that, I don't know if we're gonna see him on top. I don't know.
He basically beats football on the hardest setting. He proves that Spain are back on top and becomes the best player in the world. And if we look at his previous international tournaments with Spain, it's easy to see why him and his national team are favorites for the World Cup. You see, the summer of 2024 wasn't supposed to be about a 16-year-old kid. Usually, big international tournaments are won by veterans who know all the tricks in the book. But in Germany, Yamal was the one who completely took over the show. Everyone knew he was talented, but a child playing against tough teams like Italy and Croatia seemed risky. But in those first few games, Yamal gave Spain something they had been missing for years. While the old Spain teams liked to pass the ball endlessly, Yamal attacked directly. He wasn't afraid to take defenders on one-on-one. Against Croatia, he got an assist, becoming the youngest player ever to do so in the Euros. By the end of the tournament, he had created 14 chances, the most by a teenager in Euro or World Cup history. He was playing with flair, and all of Spain's attacks were going through him. Now, the moment that the world truly fell in love with Yamal happened in the semi-final against France. France were the favorites. They were strong defensively and hadn't let in a goal from open play. They even ended up scoring early against Spain, and for about 20 minutes, the Spaniards looked scared. It felt like they were going to be pushed around by this experienced French team. But then in the 21st minute, Yamal got the ball. Rabiot, who had trash-talked Yamal before the game, gave him a little bit too much space.
This goal was crazy, bro.
Yamal shifted the ball.
I remember watching this live, when he scored it, I'm like, bro, 17-year-old doing stuff like this? Oh my God, we haven't seen that in I don't know how long.
His left foot and curled a perfect shot from 25 yards out into the top corner. At 16 years old, he became the youngest goal scorer in Euro history. But the record wasn't the only thing that was impressive. It was Yamal's confidence. To try a shot like that in the semi-final when your team is losing is just wild. The final against England was a tough, gritty game. England's defense didn't leave much room to move. But when Spain needed a goal, Yamal found a way. His assist for Nico Williams was perfect. He drifted inside, pulling 3 English defenders towards him, which left Nico Williams wide open. Yamal slid the pass through, and Spain scored. They could have been doing doing this at Barca, but Nico Williams would rather chill with his brother in mediocrity than join one of the best teams in the world. That assist to Nico Williams was Yamal's 4th assist of the tournament, tying the all-time record. He was named the young player of the tournament, and when he lifted the trophy, he wasn't just a youngster along for the ride. He was one of the best players on that team. In fact, when I watch back some of the games from the Euros, there's a genuine argument for Yamal to have been the best player in the tournament. He proved that he could help carry a team to the top.
How good is this guy at 17 years old? Mad, isn't it? I think he's the best player in the world, to be honest. Do you? Do you think, what, just from a technical standpoint, like everything, I feel like everything they do, just 17 years old. Mad, isn't it? I think he's the best player in the world, to be honest.
You heard it? 17 years old, the best player in the world. He said probably the best, I think. I didn't hear him.
Do you? Do you think, what, just from a technical standpoint, like everything, I feel like everything they do just goes through him, and just when you watch him, it's mad.
I mean, just look at his stats. 4 assists, which is tied for the most in Euros history. 1 goal, but it was an unbelievable goal. 14 chances created, 10 plus dribbles, and he passed the eye test with flying colors. Euro 2024 proved that Yamal was a winner, but as we will see later in the video, the road to greatness isn't always a straight line. If Euro 2024 was the dream, then the 2024-2025 Nations League was a bit of a wake-up call. Yamal still proved that he was a world-class player, but he also learned that you can't win them all. The semi-final against France in June of 2025 was a crazy, wild game that ended with the Spaniards winning 5-4. In this match, as usual, Yamal was unstoppable. He scored 2 goals, including his first penalty kick as a professional. Now, the penalty was a bit of a big deal. Usually, a 17-year-old doesn't take the big shots. You leave the pens to the older guys, the players with more experience. But Yamal stepped up, showing that he was becoming one of the leaders in the team despite how young he is. France had a ton of superstars on the pitch. Mbappe, Cherki, Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele. But none of these guys had an answer for the teenage sensation. In that game alone, Yamal showed just how good he is.
What I've witnessed tonight from Lamine Yamal, and you said it already, Micah, it's not normal to be like that at 17. I'm not talking about what he does when he's on the ball, his awareness, how calm he is, the way he sees the game, the way he will defend, put pressure. It's just not normal. We talked about the 100 games that he already has at that age. It's just stupid, really. Like I don't even know what I'm watching, what I'm witnessing, but he played like a man possessed. And when I say a man, he's not even a man yet. Technically.
He had shown it earlier in the Nations League as well, scoring an unbelievable goal against the Dutch. You guys know the one. Brings it down like Neymar, does a chop like Ronaldo, and finesses it in like Messi. Now, as good as he was throughout the whole Nations League, the final against Portugal was where Yamal finally met his match. The game ended in a 2-2 tie, and Portugal eventually won on penalties. The loss hurt, especially since against Nuno Mendes, Yamal looked human for the first time. Nuno Mendes is fast, he's strong. He shut down
that
Yamal.
Game. Mendes did great job, and I didn't see like the full game. I seen stuff on TikTok, but yeah, Lamine Yamal, he kind of got humble, but hey, everything happens.
Winning man of the match. Yamal looked very passive. He didn't try his usual tricks. He wasn't aggressive, and it ended up being a big lesson. Raw talent wasn't going to be enough against the absolute best defenders. He learned he needed a plan B when he couldn't just dribble past someone. For Yamal, sitting on the bench in the business end of that game, and all the memes that came about him and Nuno Mendes was a different kind of pain, but that feeling will fuel him for the upcoming World Cup. Now, the reason that Yamal is truly ready to become a world champion with Spain, we have to look at what he's been doing with Barca in the past few seasons since the Euros. The 2024-2025 season was absolute magic for Barca. Under Hansi Flick, they won pretty much everything. Copa del Rey, Spanish Super Cup, La Liga. Yamal was playing unbelievably. He played 53 matches, scored 18 goals, and got 21 assists. People kept trying to downplay his season like he only scored 9 goals, but it's not true. He got nearly 40 goal contributions in one season as a teenager. This is literally unheard of. It's also important to note when and where he got his goals. He wasn't stat padding against teams that nobody knows in the Uber Eats League. He was scoring in the Super Cup final against Real Madrid. He was scoring against them in the league. He was dancing past teams in the semi-final of the Champions League. This is a player who shows up in the most important games, under the brightest lights, and that quality will help him tremendously at the World Cup, where every game is a big game. The other part is that Yamal has gotten physically stronger. His body is changing. He's gained a lot of muscle since the last tournament, and it's because Barcelona's trainers have put him on a specific plan to bulk up. He's also taller now. He doesn't get pushed around anymore. He can hold off strong defenders, and his shot is much more powerful. I mean, just look at what he was doing to Nuno Mendes when Barca played PSG in the Champions League. Yamal looked much better both physically and on the ball than he did against Nuno Mendes in the Nations League final. The only issue for Yamal will be his health. Since he has played so much at such a young age, it has taken a toll on his body. He is struggling with chronic groin pain. It's a common injury for young players who run too much before their bodies are fully developed. You're seeing the same thing with Cole Palmer and Mastantuono. The injury itself led to a big fight between Hansi Flick and De La Fuente. Barca accused Spain of overusing him, while Spain said they needed their best player. This injury is going to be the biggest threat to Yamal's 2026 World Cup campaign. If he doesn't rest and recover, he can lose his speed and magic. And that's going to be annoying because at his best, Yamal is a Ballon d'Or contender. We saw that in late 2025 at the Ballon d'Or ceremony in Paris.
Imagine if he would have won Ballon d'Or 17, bro. Oh my God. Lamine Yamal, 18 years old. That is unheard of. That is crazy.
Finished second, just behind Ousmane Dembele. Dembele had a monster season and won everything with PSG, but Yamal had a historic finish for a teenager. Even though he played unbelievably for Barca, was so good in the business end of the season, the Ballon d'Or voters love the Champions League. And since Dembele won that, in the business end of the season, the Ballon d'Or voters love the Champions League. And since Dembele won that, he got the edge. But again, finishing second at 18 years old is almost unheard of. He did win the Copa Trophy for the second year in a row, which nobody has ever done, but that confirmed something we already knew. He's the best young player in the world. But what people need to realize now is he's also one of the best players in the world flat out. Age doesn't matter when you're as good as Yamal.
That was one of the great performances.
The Epstein jokes, they're not funny, bro. Get them out.
I've seen in the Champions League by a 17-year-old. He's 18 in July. He's already played 100 games for Barca. His numbers are incredible. Just watching him, he goes past players almost as though they're invisible. They're not there.
Yeah, I noticed that.
He makes it look so easy to beat a player. His decision.
Hey, I be watching Lamine Yamal and I'm like, yo, I want to go out on a pitch thinking I can do all the same shit, you know. But man, the reality hits. That kid is just, I'm saying the kid. He's my age. He's even older than me, but he's amazing.
Making is almost always right. The ability to cut in and bend in, the little crosses, the little floaty crosses he hits in, he's just extraordinary.
Now, if he pulls this off and actually wins the 2026 World Cup, where does he sit among the greatest players of all time? Well, let's compare him to some legends. The first one is Yamal versus Pele. In 1958, a 17-year-old Pele shocked the world and won the World Cup. If Yamal wins the World Cup in 2026, 17-year-old Pele shocked to some legends. The first one is Yamal versus Pele. In 1958, a 17-year-old Pele...
Oh my, I didn't know that. I'm getting to know now. It's crazy. Pele was 17. Never heard of that.
Shocked the world and won the World Cup. If Yamal wins the World Cup in 2026, he will be following the Pele blueprint. He could be the first teenager since the Brazilian to dominate a World Cup like he did. Now, Pele's journey was a surprise. Yamal already has the pressure of the whole world before a ball has even been kicked at the World Cup. Then you have, of course, Yamal versus Mbappe. Mbappe won the World Cup at 19. He was incredible in that campaign and scored in the final. But they're two very different players. Mbappe abused his speed in that tournament. Yamal's not fast like Mbappe, but he's a better passer and playmaker. A win puts Yamal ahead because he would have done it at 18 compared to Mbappe, who did it at 19. And I think if Yamal does do it, he will have done it as the best player on the Spain national team. Mbappe was one of the best, not the best, in 2018. Then you have Yamal versus R9. Now, R9 won a World Cup at 17, but he was on the bench the whole time. He didn't dominate until he was older in the 2002 World Cup. If Yamal won the World Cup, he would be ahead of 17-year-old R9 because Yamal would actually be carrying the Spain team. Hopefully, Yamal's groin injuries don't make him end up like R9, who ruined his knees early. He needs to stay healthy to avoid a tragic what-if story. And then, of course, you have Yamal versus Messi, a comparison that has been done time and time again because of the fact that they're both left-footed, both from La Masia, both now wear the number 10 and wore the number 19 before, and both are unbelievable for Barca. Now, it took Messi 5 tries and 16 years to finally win a World Cup. If Yamal wins it in 2026, he would have done it on his first try. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that he's better than Messi, but my God, does it give him a terrifying head start to make his case for being the greatest of all time. I've always felt that Yamal plays like a left-footed Neymar, but there are many similarities to Messi in style of play. Left-footed, they love to cut inside, dribble past everyone. A World Cup proves that Yamal isn't just a copycat of Messi, he might be the true heir to his throne. Now, the 2026 World Cup is set to be Yamal's big moment, but he cannot do it alone, and luckily he doesn't have to. Spain isn't just a good team, they're an absolute machine. That's why they were able to win the Euros. You have the deadly duo of Nico Williams on the left and Yamal on the right. It's one of the best winger combos in international football. It's a nightmare for defenders because you can't double team Yamal. If you do, that leaves Nico wide open on the other side, and he will punish you. They're also best friends off the pitch and on the pitch. They have a chemistry and connection that you can't make up. Then behind these guys, you have the likes of Pedri, Rodri, potentially even Gavi. Add in the likes of Orzabal, Fabian Ruiz, and you get a midfield and attack that can do a lot of damage. Then at the back, you have Dean Housen, Pau Cubarsí. So Spain have a good team, and they've completely changed their style now. They're much more direct. They realized that the tiki-taka era was over, and now they're able to punish teams with lightning-fast counterattacks. The fact that they can change styles is perfect for the World Cup, especially since the weather is going to be hot, and the games are going to be decided by who's faster in the open pitch. They also have a habit of winning now. They almost won the Nations League, they won Euro 2024, they know how to get the job done. They're not coming in with the hope of winning, they're expected to win. So let's imagine the scenario. It's July of 2026. Lamine Yamal is standing at MetLife Stadium lifting the World Cup trophy. What does that mean for his career? Well, if he wins the World Cup, the race for the best player in the world is over. When you combine a World Cup with what he's been doing for Barca, nobody else stands a chance. He'll beat players like Mbappe, Haaland, and Kane, and he'll become one of the youngest winners of the Ballon d'Or ever. If he wins, he's not just a great player anymore. He enters the conversation for the greatest Spanish player of all time. He'd arguably have a higher peak than players like Xavi or Iniesta. He would become the face of the entire country. Then, winning a World Cup in America changes everything because he stops being just a footballer and becomes a global icon. The casuals will love him, and he'll become a household name in places that don't even watch football. Now, is there a danger to winning everything this young? I mean, if you conquer the world by 19, what do you do for the rest of your career? Can Yamal stay hungry when he's already beaten the game? That would be a pretty big challenge. The definition of suffering from success. Only time will tell if that will happen to Yamal. What we do know is that he has every chance to lift that World Cup. He already has a history of sprinting past milestones that other players spend their whole lives trying to reach. The World Cup will be like his final boss, even though he's so young. If he beats it, we're not just looking at a star, we're looking at a guy who could end up being the greatest of all time. Now, I spoke briefly about his teammates and how good the Spain national team is, but I've made a way more in-depth video right here. You have to go watch.
Yeah, Lamine Yamal, just a superstar, but a few things I gotta say is that with so much pressure, with so much fame, with so much money, it can really get to him. I'm not gonna lie. If he really doesn't manage his mental right, I think we might have just another what ifs. What if he was the best in the world? But I hope he's really gonna do good. He's gonna stay grounded. He's gonna keep on working. And yeah, we might see the best player of all time, bro. We might. So that was the video. Have a nice day, bro. Love yourself. Be confident. See you next.